can cause the flight or fight response. So how when you say boy, say yeah, well, baby, if you say we're threatened. For example, say who's a crime come here. There's a chance that I'm going to run because now I'm pretty much running for my life. So that's part of our stress response. So our stress response gives us the energy to deal with whatever potential stress, and that's a potential harm now. It gives us the ability to deal with that, right? So for example, I need energy to run. So of course my body is going to give, my brain is going to release chemicals that will give me the energy to run. But stress running away from something. Stress can be from having a disease. Maybe I can't also when it's stress on the body. Even though you're not running away from it, it still has the same kind of reaction where your body can go into the fight or flight mode, right? And the flight or flight mode it's a chemical reaction, whether you see it or not. But it does have consequences as it continues. So when we're in that reaction, our body releases hormones like epinephrine, adrenaline, and norepinephrine. These are all body chemicals that helps give us the boost of energy we need to deal with that stress, right? Because, for example, say, because you need the energy to deal with that. But say, for instance, things that in a way where there's no perceived threat, where you're ill, you're stressed because you're ill, you're stressed because of life happenings, you're stressed because you lost a loved one, these same chemicals are being released. Even though say you don't need to run, your heart rate is still going up. So stress can affect the body, and usually that is the baseline for a lot of diseases, whether mental or physical health. So stress hormones. We talk about stress hormones. So what does stress hormone do? So stress hormones, when we're under stress, we're our breathing increases. Right? Your friends say, because of that means that more just to flow very fast. And because you're doing that, your pressure can go up, right? You need energy to deal with whatever is happening in your body. And our energy as human is glucose, which is sugar. We're under stress, our sugar level goes up because our body needs releasing chemicals to cause these things to happen, right? Like you can see, say be under stress, that you can see if you're looking at their eyes are usually dilated. Blood pressure goes up, as I said. Your intestine, your intestinal muscles are more relaxed. And not just say your intestinal muscles are more relaxed, so everything is loose. And the reason why that happens, they say, because now your body is reserving the blood and the energy it needs to all the vital organs for you to survive, which is wakoma, and then all the other vital organs that keeps you alive. So your bowels or your intestine is the last thing that your body is worrying about. This is why that happens. So when we're under stress, a lot of things happen. So if you can imagine, say constantly, you're under stress, just try to think what's happening to your body, right? So your mind is racing, your heart is racing, your blood pressure is going up. So all these things combined together can lead a person to having a lot of the stress can lead to mental illness. And then of course, having your genetic background and having the environment, if the environment is not favoring you, for example, you're already under stress. Maybe you've been diagnosed with something. If you also know you're not getting any stress relief at home. You have stress. So all this combined can have a tone on a person's mental health, and then it can lead to mental illness. Right? So I've already talked about this. So signs of stress, like I've talked about all of this. So stress affects every part of our body, and usually that's what leads to either physical health, so you can get a disease like cancer, diabetes, all those other diseases, or it can have a tone on your mental health where you can get like anxiety, depression, seasonal affective disorder, schizophrenia, on all the other mental illnesses that's out there, right? It's like the horrible baseline for a lot of these. So when a person is going through a lot of stress, like I said, it affects your whole body from head to toe. So this are some of the symptoms. And how reacting, right? Because, for example, maybe when I'm under stress, I might not have back pain, but somebody else will have back pain. So when you are when you feel like you're under stress, just be mindful. Mindful means pay attention to what's happening to your body, right? Before, not stress level, okay, now you're managing things well. How are you feeling? Now, no, idea symptoms, and that's idea that our body catch us it is happening. Like symptoms are how our body warns us that something is wrong, right? So some people might have, back pain. You might start getting sick a lot. So low immunity when you're under a lot of stress and you're getting sick, your immune system gets weak, and because your immune system is weak, you get even more sicker, right? It's like a vicious cycle. So digestive problem, I talked about how some people will have diarrhea. Some people will also have the opposite, where they can get constipated, right? Irritable bowel syndrome is like for those that their bowels are irritated, whatever they eat affects their gut. These are all signs that you could be going under a lot of stress. That's a lot of infection that could be happening. So it's like you get a cold, it goes, nasaba, nakod, nakod, nasaba. These are all signs that something is happening in your body because you're fighting something, right? Having a lot of skin issues, right? Not being able to sleep, weight loss or weight gain, depends on how you deal with stress and mental illness. So when you're under, some people when they're going through a lot of stress and they're frustrated, they're not mentally sound and things are happening, they might consume a lot of food because food is a comfort for them, right? And some people may stay away from food. So we see reacting. So some people may gain weight, some people might lose weight when this is happening. So it depends on what. So if you're there and you're not trying to lose weight, like you're not exercising a lot, you're not watching what you eat, you're just maintaining your weight, and all of a sudden you're losing a lot of weight, that's a sign that something is wrong. It could be the fact that you have stress and the stress has led to something else. So it's always a good idea to double check with your doctor. Getting a lot of headaches, chronic pain, aches and pain, a loss of sexual drive. These are all signs that, like it's like the last things that you enjoyed now, it's like the last thing on your mind, right? You may have, some people might develop they might think that they're having like a heart attack or having a heart pain. These are all signs that something is wrong, because when we are under a lot of stress and when we have mental illness like anxiety, when you are going through anxiety, your body reacts the same way. As if like it's similar to like a person having like angina, which is like chest pain or heart attack, because your muscle, once again, like I said, your body is trying to reserve all the good energy to go towards the vital organs, which is your heart. And say like your heart is racing a lot. You feel like you're going to pass out. You feel dizzy. Some people, they might feel that their hands are, clumping. So they might think that they're having a stroke. These are all signs of, could be an anxiety attack or panic attack. And those are mental, it's a part of the mental illness, right? So these are all some of the signs. And then when we go to the mental aspect, there's mood swings, people being impatient, people being constantly anxious. So they're always anxious and always panicking. Depression is one of them. Not feeling in control. You feel like you lost control. Being very hostile. So if that wasn't your nature, not all of a sudden that's happening, you should be mindful that something is happening, right? Some people feel confused, forgetfulness, impulsive behavior. So impulsive behavior, and I said, for example, when you say finance is not that great, but she because it makes her feel better, it makes her feel in control. So those are like impulsive kind of things that you want to stay away from. So the mental health can affect the way we behave, right? So we might purchase certain things because we think it's helping us, but in a way it just kind of puts us back even lower than where we left off. So when you have impulse behaviors like that, just be mindful. They're prone to accident. Or all of it, because your mind is so distracted that you're not able to focus. So these could be all signs. So the take-home message is there's a lot of information and there's a lot of ways your body can react, but how and the body still more than like anybody else. So for example, if I know how I am, not all of a sudden, I'm getting very angry all the time. I'm very down, and I'm enjoying it now. I don't enjoy it anymore. I'm staying away from people, right? Because I'm not in the mood to talk to them. I know we all go through that. That happens once in a while, especially with us women with our menstrual cycle. But that's not what I'm talking about. Like really staying away from people that you enjoy being around, and then all of a sudden you're staying away from them. So these are all signs that could be telling you that something is wrong and that you need to look into it, right? So some of the benefits of taking care of ourselves. So I've talked about a lot of things that can happen. So when those things are happening, there are certain things that you can do on your own, right? Because yes, healthcare providers or doctors they're all there to support you. But sometimes, I didn't go high. I was like, yeah, I take action. So meaning say, and these are day-to-day activities that we have to put in practice because we're habitual human beings. So the more we're doing something, the better we become at it. Certain things that you can do is make sure that you're putting some of these good habits into your routine to help build a better mental wellness. Because even if you have mental health, like mental illness, you can still have a better mental health because of all these things that we're going to talk about to keep your mind at bay and also help your physical body as well, right? So some of the things that we'll talk about, get the 7 pillars, I call them, of building a better mental health, knowledge and health literacy. So the fact that we're joining in to learn this is great, right? Knowledge is power. The more you know, the better it is for you, right? Because nobody knows everything. We all learn from each other. So right now on Tiasia, so be our doctor, get the knowledge and get the resources out there. So that's one of the things. So don't suffer in silence just because when you're sure. Your first person to contact is your talk to your family. And if that can help you, speak to your doctor and say, you know what, this is what's happening in now, what can I do? And they'll be able to give you the information you need and the resources to connect you. So what mental wellness, so self-awareness, being aware of what's happening. So having a mental illness doesn't mean that you, like I said, and I can't stress that enough, having a mental illness doesn't mean that you can have a positive outlook on life. There's a lot of people that you might think don't have mental illness. A mental illness, like anxiety is a mental illness, depression, there's a lot of things that is considered mental illness. But there are people that are functioning well, they're able to take care of their day-to-day activity, they do everything that they're supposed to do normally, but they have mental illness because it's being managed, right? So mental illness doesn't mean that you are out there and you're like how in our culture usually you think, that's not what it is, right? There's different chemicals that works to control our brains, and when these chemicals are not out of balance, that's when these things happen. So it doesn't mean that like you can't be a functional person in the society. You can, right? Getting physical activity. So that's all very important. Healthy eating. Avoiding certain risk behavior. So risk behavior, like when they're going through stress, they start smoking, right? Or when they're going through stress, they start drinking a lot of alcohol. So or start doing drugs, or they start hanging with the wrong crowd. So those are all risk behaviors that can make your mental health even worse, right? So you want to avoid those kind of risk behaviors, right? You want to make sure that you meant to make sure that you keep good hygiene, right? That's it's very important. I know it's something that usually we think is last, but keeping ourselves clean is also part of keeping our mental health clean. When we have things in order, our mind is in order. When things are all over the place and we're not able to manage our time, we're not able to keep ourselves clean, we're unkept, all of that affects the way we perceive things in life. And usually when a person is going through some mental challenges, sometimes that's the way that some people can realize that what's happening. How come this person all of a sudden is doing this? So if a person becomes unkept and they're not keeping good hygiene, these are all some of the things that we can, if you have family members, we can kind of pick and go, okay, there's something is happening, what can we do to help them? And then also, use services that are out there. There's lots and lots and lots of resources out there that can help you. If you're going through any kind of mental challenge or mental stress, right? Because the resources are there and it's there for a purpose. Your doctor have access to it, or your healthcare provider have access to it. They can connect you with the right resources to help you manage. And sometimes managing mental illness requires everything that you're doing to help you manage your day-to-day life, plus seeking counseling, plus taking medication. So if you have to take medication for anxiety, it doesn't mean that you are crazy. It just means that that's what your body needs in order to function, right? So I want to put it out there. People take anxiety medication, depression medication, medication to keep their mood stabilized, medication to help them not hear voices or see things, on all of that. These are all ways to help manage mental illness, right? Plus everything else that we're talking about. So these are the 7 pillars, to keep your mental health at bay and to prevent other issues. So self-care. So self-care is very important, like keeping our emotional health, physical. Okay. So, right. So I was talking about self-care. So, looking at our emotional health, our physical health, and then our spiritual health, right? Because all this help us in terms of managing our mental health, right? So emotional health is what we're talking about, self-talk, making sure that you are taking care of yourself, you're being nice to yourself, because especially us as women, we're very critical of ourselves, and we might say like really nasty things to ourselves. So you have to allow yourself, you have to give yourself the love that you need. But I always put out there, self-love is still love. If you can't love yourself, nobody can love you, right? So you have to make sure that you are taking care of your emotional health, and that you're taking care of your what makes you feel good and what makes you feel sane, right? Physical health, taking care of the body physically, because like I said earlier, whatever you put out there, whatever you're putting out there is affecting what's happening also in your mind, right? So there's benefit to that. And then spiritual health, you want to make sure that we're spiritual beings. We're religious, we go to church, we have a connection with God. So having a connection with a higher power is another way of helping our mental health, right? So usually when people are going through a lot of mental health challenges, those that are connected spiritually, and so for example, if they're Christians and they're reading the Bible, praying, that support helps them go through the challenge of mental health, right? So spirituality is very important for mental health. Physical health is very important for mental health. And of course, your emotional well-being, all connected together to help you to improve your overall health and outlook on life, right? So let me make this bigger. Okay. So, so once again, when you are going through to improve your mental health, managing stress, right? How do you manage it? Well, how do you manage your stress? So whatever is stressing you, right? Because stress happens whether we think we're, like we're superhuman. I haven't met a person that said I've never gone through stress. Every one of us go through it. Life happens. It comes and goes. Depends on what's happening, right? Could be our job, could be our family, could be an illness. Anything that our body thinks is stress, it reacts to it, right? So making sure that we are managing our stress. So managing your stress means talking to friends and family, right? So if you're lucky to have friends and family, talking to them and telling them what's happening to you and being open is a way of releasing some of the tension from your mind, right? Because and then if you don't have that, there are professionals that can help you. So for example, you can see a social worker who you can be open and talk to, and mental health nurses or other nurses that you can talk to that can give you the resources and the ways that you can help manage your stress, whatever that stress is. Because sometimes in order for you to manage the stress, some of the stress needs to be removed. So depending on what it is, then it will determine what kind of management you need. You're staying active. So when we exercise, and I'll go into that. When we exercise, we are making sure that we are improving our physical health. So when we're exercising, our body's releasing hormones, and these hormones are helping us reduce stress. And when your stress level is down, your mental health improves. When your stress level is down, your physical health improves, right? Because we talked earlier about how stress affects the whole body. So when you are removing some of these hormones that causes the stress on the body, it helps affect and improve the whole body. So for example, exerciser, body release what we call anti-stress hormones. And these hormones help your body relax. It helps it helps your mind relax. It helps you be able to think clearly. It helps improve your mood. And some of these hormones also helps prevent some of the complications of stress, like getting a disease like like having a disease like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, and all of that, right? Because when we're under a lot of stress, these things can happen, right? Because our body is reacting and it can cause disease forming, right? Our body becomes very inflamed, meaning that we have a lot of inflammation in our body. So we get sick quicker. Our immune system is weak, we get sick quicker. So things that you can do when you're exercising, you're releasing dopamine, serotonin, epinephrine. These are all hormones that helps improve your mood, improve your physical health. It makes your blood pressure goes down. It helps with cholesterol management. It helps with blood sugar management, because when your body is relaxed, you're not releasing a lot of sugar because there's nothing for you that you need the energy for, right? When your body is relaxed, your pressure is not so high because that your body's pressure is at lower rate, so that your arteries are flexible, the blood is flowing nicely, and you're not having any kind of a negative reaction. But if you're tense, like I say, if you're tense all the time, think of what tense muscle. When your body is tense, like your muscle hurts because you're tense. Same thing happens to your blood vessels. When you're tense, your blood vessel becomes more rigid, meaning that more blood vessels, and they're supposed to be flexible, like a tuba, which and flow nicely. When you're under a lot of stress and all the blood pressure is going up, now cholesterol starts to go up. Now your heart rate is racing. It causes the blood pressure to the vessels to be very rigid, meaning that it becomes very hard and rough, like very hard to be for the blood to flow through, right? So in doing that, your body has to work extra hard. Your heart has to work extra hard to get the blood to where it needs to go. And in doing that, what happens? It needs more pressure. And because it needs more pressure, what happens? Now blood pressure costs, right? Because the arteries become more rigid, now, like things like cholesterol start to build, right? Cholesterol, no, yes, it is a sardine that won't now, no, sardine won't air block, like space now, plus or pressure so cholesterol because of all that's happening. It is a combination can lead to heart attacks, can lead to stroke, because the pressure is too much. That's a pushy sardine, that's a sardine be supply blood to your heart now a block. That's how you get a heart attack. So block in the vein or the vessel that's feeding the brain, you stroke, and you have if it goes in the leg, you get peripheral vascular disease. If it goes in the lungs, you get embolism. So there's a lot that can happen when we're under stress, right? Because when we're exercising, all of this is being taken care of, right? Our pressure is much lower, our muscles are less tense, our blood vessels are more relaxed, so blood can flow through nicely. So exercise is very important. And also remember, it's improving your mental health because it's releasing the hormones that calms the mind, the hormones that helps your mood, help stabilize your mood, the hormones that prevent you from overeating. All of that is being released when you are exercising. Same hormones are released when you laugh, right? So laughter is also another way of improving our mental health. So laughter, so if you're someone that loves to watch comedy or what, it's good for you. The more you laugh, it's like laughter is like exercise for the brain, right? So you want to make sure that you're laughing, you're exercising, and exercise, you don't have to, I know I don't have that much time and I want to give more room for people to ask questions. So when you're exercising, it doesn't have to be that you join the gym and you have to, pay all this money. Anything you can do at home that causes your heart, or outside that causes your heart rate to go up, that's considered, it's in 10-minute block, it's considered exercise. So when you're exercising, things like aerobics exercise, any exercise, like I said, that causes your heart rate to go up. So dancing, swimming, biking, walking counts, right? So these are all ways that we can improve. So taking the kids and going for a walk, that's a good way for you to exercise. For you to count as exercise, it has to be in 10-minute block. And then you're going towards the exercise goal of 150 minutes, right? So that's 150 minutes per week. So if you're somebody that never exercised and now you want to start, let that be your target, that you want to reach 150 minutes per week. Because when you're doing this, this is good enough to keep your physical health and your mental health. You can exercise. So exercise, what exercise? Right? So what exercise? Some of the things that home chemicals maybe yes, so stress. So we exercise opposite chemicals may release, which is anti-stress hormones. Into a boama, what you did improve a boama in terms of say will be forgetfulness, it improves, right? And now we exercise this one. For example, will be which is hypertension, high blood pressure, and man platform. Because we exercise our hormones now, or really see what now, what did he release? A boama pressure form, a boama sugar form, and a boama the way our emergency flow through tubes or arteries, so as form. Into exercise is very important. Into for example, to call it as exercise, no, and yes, I work on the gym in an America area. No. So every day, so try to 20 minutes. That's good enough to get the minimum, right? So this is the minimum. We'll target 150 minutes per week. Into 150 minutes, so we will be at exercise 20 minutes every day, 7 days a week. It may improve mental health, no physical health. So we will be our exercise 5 days a week at 30 minutes. We walk 30 minutes and wow, right? The more exercise the better now healthy in terms of mental health and physical health, right? And now area say so we will be at serious. So the act of laughing, what I said, maybe as and then I was just even if you force yourself to laugh, when you are laughing, hormones now it release it to reduce stress. No? The same hormones now is released. And for example, in terms of TV, and here. So better news. Especially now with COVID and cases and all those things, and why? Because we are how the mental health level. What you say? Don't add it. Me too say news. I listen to the news for certain information, and then that's it. Because it makes you because I am share no say TV is now the movie now the life it's the same reaction and our body reacting. Body is reacting the same way. So you want to avoid things that because and it's so brain exercise. What I say? Chemicals now brain release improve mental health. Laughter and exercise is very important for even say you go through mental illness, for example, we've been diagnosed with depression or anxiety. When we stay away from those things and get involved in this, it helps us improve our overall health, right? So I talked about physical activity, and my friends say another way we can take care of ourselves is what we're putting in our body, so our food. So making sure say I like to say as close as natural form as possible. For example, the in its natural form. Yeah, processed stuff now store now box, right? So they're not your work no. Yeah, I'm using then when fresh. If you can, that's the best way to eat because all the benefits, right? Because at the end said a bit healing a body no. Because at the end how dear the more is processed no. The more for example, say ubedi maybe to say some breakfast instead of say ubedi what can I even say, like white bread, like having a white bread, and I said having white bread instead of whole grain bread. Whole grain bread now is better for you. Why? Because fiber is less processed. So the less processed the food is, the better it is for your body. Because also boy say and digested your body. For example, say medi apple, my apple na medium. The fact that my apple na made you my stomach need breaking it down. A process. It use energy. What I say, and in doing that, I'm getting all the different benefits from the food that way. But some apple juice. That's some apple juice. Apple juice. Sugar direct because there's nothing body needs to do to it. It's processed. Process now what's a mimi body inside. The more processed it is, the worse it is.
Apple juice. So drink apple juice.
Yeah, thank you. So make sure that we are eating the food as close to its natural form as possible. And there's nothing wrong with them. I always say this because sometimes Obama say, Julie, that's not true. There's nothing wrong with them. Just that you have to be mindful. As a Niyama here added now. For example, a lot of spices go higher. Let's say it's easy for us now. Say they agree, but if we go back to the natural way of doing things, for example, put in like the herbs like basil, garlic, ginger, and putting all these things in our food the natural way now, we get benefit from it because when in January it boosts the immune system. First of all, it helps reduce inflammation. And you'll be out suffer from as a and then high or arthritis, and like all the different herbs and all the different spices and herbs. Now, wow, it's like rosemary, oregano, dill, all these spices and what do you call ginger, all the alien vegetables like chives, onions, all of them are good for you. They're anti-inflammatory, help reduce inflammation. What I saying? So we will be or arthritis, we will be what diabetes. All these foods, when you're adding and flavoring your food this way, you're helping your body because you're sticking to the natural food. So we want to eat healthy, balanced diet, but we want to make sure that we are getting all the benefits. So when we talk about eating a balanced meal, so when we look at our foods, like those that have tuned in and can see my screen, so we do and say benku na obedi, say more na obedi, say pesi na obedi, fufu na obedi, ni starch, right? But starch, in here because starch and energy food. So we need the starch, the grains and starches. But we need to, and you hear other things. You hear vegetables. You hear protein. Protein, be free be free things like beans and seeds like almonds, seeds, lentils, all of that have protein, right? And plant protein usually, I know your best Maya because it has a lot of fiber. Fiber also help lower your blood pressure, our blood sugar, and our cholesterol level. And what you did, you're making sure that how right? If you're watching more, that's it. That's not good for you. Ultimately, it's the same amount. There's nothing wrong with eating rice or benku or pasta or TZ or whatever. You can eat any food you want. It's just how you combine it. And to make sure, everything is balanced. When you're vegetable kakra, when you're protein kakra, when you're milk an alternative kakra. What I say? So when you eat a balanced meal, then it helps heals your body because we hear all the different vitamins and minerals. And because because for example, high blood pressure, not say because of whatever happened, mental stress and a mental illness. Because of some mental illness, it's affecting the way I'm connecting with people, the way I'm eating, the way I'm behaving. It can distract me from taking care of that blood pressure. What you're saying, taking care of blood pressure and it becomes the last thing because of what's going on in my mind. Because of some the pressure costs more. Because of some the sugar costs more. What you're saying, the happen while you're dreaming, and also affect your body. So always remember, it's healthy eating. When you say, oh, diabetes in quantity, and I say, oh, high blood pressure in quantity, and now arthritis in quantity, now who did it healthy? Who did it healthy? Everything else goes according to how it's supposed to reduce your stress. So and also your mental health. So eating a balanced meal is very important for mental health. And then I always like to, I love looking at this screen, like all our foods, like all our Ghanaian foods. Once again, you can eat every food that you like, or culture food, or culture food. I'll be able to make. So the corner will be there. Kakrebi, what I say, starch me here, but in here, baby. Kakrebi. Now the vegetables account. Now the protein account. I know say yeah, Ghana for the I am fat milk and then yogurt and camel. But that's also part of the food group. And what we can do is say it makes me edible as snack in between our meals, right? For example, what do you rice and you have your rice and vegetables and chicken. Maybe 2-3 hours later, instead of say another big meal, you have your milk on alternative too. So a glass of milk, so a cup of yogurt, so you're getting also your milk on alternative nutrients from there, right? Because normally we combine right? And as a fruit, add the fruit in between your meals as snacks, because we need all of this in order to balance everything, right? And this is very important for health. And then once again, we talk about healthier way of dealing with our mental stress. Just because we're stressed doesn't mean that alcohol, right? Because alcohol has a very negative effect on our body. It might yeah, not most of the time you think it's alcohol, no, and this why crack. But alcohol is actually a depressant. It's not a stimulant. It might make you feel, feel a little disoriented, and that might I said why crack, but actually it causes depression in the body, like it's a depressant. So, and then it's also empty calories. Alcohol, sugar, it doesn't do anything except spikes your blood sugar and can make your cholesterol and all of that go up. So that there's no benefit. So say, for example, if I have an apple and I eat the apple now, even though it also has sugar in it and it also has natural sugar, at least I'm getting so much minerals and vitamins from it and fiber from it that helps my body. But if I drink alcohol, there's nothing. And I know that sometimes the mouth will say, oh, no, wow. I don't know. In my studies, it's very little benefit that is not, to me, it's not worth it. If you're having, let's say you're having, you're socializing, once in a while, that's your prerogative. But and no shouldn't be your solution. Say, because you feel that it calms you and it helps you de-stress. It's the worst thing you can do to yourself, because and what it does, and it affects our mind in the long run. When we say no alcohol, baby, dementia and Alzheimer's is one of the diseases that it can cause later on. Say no alcohol, baby, it makes me say your liver, it makes me say your kidney, all the vital organs now your body here, it makes me say too much. So no alcohol. I'm teaching as a health educator. So no alcohol. Make sure say your bad. So no alcohol and start it. Don't say me attending Juliet, see it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying say so you'll be a now no more reduce you, because too much of everything is not good for you. So usually the studies that have done one standard drink, and one standard drink could be like a can of beer or 250 mils of a wine and those kind of things. If you have one standard drink as a woman, it won't cause major harm to you. One standard drink. For man, no more than 9 drinks per week. Do you be no more than that? So this is the time to think about it, because it's affecting you not only physically but mentally, right? So we will be no more than 9 drinks per week. You should refrain from it. Try to cut it down, right? So don't start, because it's not a good thing a habit to start. For men, 1 to 2 drinks per day, no more than 14 drinks per week, right? So same thing. So you'll be don't start, but so no more than that. Please reduce it. And then so and you say and Juliet said Sunday, and my 9 week we can run them the 9 so no, that's called binge drinking. And no mental problem now worse. And in terms of the long-term effect on mental health, will be even worse for you, because binge drinking causes Alzheimer's and causes dementia, which can lead to Alzheimer's disease and all of that, right? So binge drinking is never okay. Binge drinking is never okay. So and then you spread it across. Just like I said, Dr. Mao Drusenum. So Friday and I say a weekend one. Same thing, right? Everything we put on our body, we have to apply little bits of it, and then it helps. It's not good for you. Just like overeating and over drinking is not good for you. So if you are going to drink it. Be mindful of your alcohol, especially you'll be suffer from diabetes. If you're going to drink, make sure say around time I would said and cause blood sugar to drop too dangerously low, right? So that's very mindful, because Ghana yes that's what it is. It's called hypoglycemia. It can happen too much. It can cause your blood sugar to drop very low to a point that you can pass out from it. So just be mindful, say what diabetes are. I'm not saying say no alcohol, but be mindful that you have it with something, so you don't have it with food, so it doesn't cause any kind of stress for you. So I'm gonna hurry up so I have more time for people to ask more questions. So once again, what some of the things that we can do to improve our mental health, I talked about it, being making sure that we're exercising, we're laughing, we're eating healthy, we're connecting socially, we're doing charity work, because when you do out for others, believe it or not, it really helps you, because you feel like you're in charge of your health and you feel like your life your life doesn't just belong to you, right? When you're out there helping people, it really helps your mental health, right? It gives you a purpose in life. So make sure that, you know, if you're someone, say, maybe a senior, maybe I will retire. Now, no, first, now we are now, since I'll call retirement, you know, you feel like you're a little bit low, like you're as much. I guarantee you that will volunteer our time. That's a BB also sorry now volunteer, BB also community, no volunteer. Now those things, it actually helps you because you're first of all you're socializing, so you're all connected with NIPA. The more you connect with people, it helps with your mental health, right? And because you're connecting with people, it gives you a sense of purpose. So because you're doing something to help others. So, you know, giving a helping hand not only helps others, but it also helps you. Being grateful, having a like gratitude is also a good way. So looking at counting, I call it counting your blessings, because obia or stress, obia or how, but selma or how no chair. The way I will see share as a good part of life now, it will take over everything. And then maybe I will suffer from depression, I can make it worse. So I'll suffer from anxiety, I can make it worse. And no can pull you away from people. Now it makes you more isolated. Now it can take a big toll on your mental health where it can go down for the worst, right? You know, make sure say you are doing your best to connect with people, volunteer your time, do good for others, connect with you know, your social support is very, very important. Because in England, say now, they actually have a program where the program aim is to just connect seniors with other seniors, because they know, say, when people are lonely now and people are isolated now, their mental health deteriorate, their physical health deteriorate, and if anything, it kills them really quickly, because all of this we think doesn't have an effect, but it have a tone on our immune system. So connecting with people, getting involved, socializing, volunteering your time, having a grateful attitude, all helps you with your mental health, right? And then when you do, this is a daily things that you do. So when you're doing all of this, and you know, still you feel that, you know what, something is wrong. Like I'm doing my exercise. I'm trying to be positive. Sorry, I'm spiritually, I'm trying to grow. I'm connecting with my family, but still, I feel like something is off. That's when you need to seek, you know, speak to your healthcare providers, because not everything. These are things that you do on your daily life to help you manage, but sometimes it goes beyond that, right? So it goes beyond that means that you have to speak to your healthcare providers. They can do blood work to find out what's happening, especially if the mental issue is affecting your sleep. Because if you're not able to sleep, you're not able to heal your body, because when we're sleeping, that's when, you know, chemicals are being released, you know, things like our skin, everything is being rejuvenated, because that's our rest for our body to repair itself. So now, it's something that can really take a toll on your mental and physical health. So if you're not getting more than 7 to 8 hours, like 7 to 9 hours, ideally for adults if you're lucky, and for children, if you have kids, make sure that, you know, between at least 9 to 12 hours they're getting the sleep. If that's not happening because of, say, a Juma, and you're different, but say, yeah, what time, what that, but like things are running through your mind, that you need to speak to someone. There's therapy that can help you. Listen to calming music usually helps. So what you know, after to next time now in your mind, and I said, you want to listen to good music, music that's calming, that's relaxing, that can relax the mind and the body, right? That's the time that you put your phone away, because it's all the distractions from the light from the phone can also cause your sleep to be affected. So do all these important. If you do all of that and still you're not able to sleep, then you need to seek, you know, speak to your doctor. They will do blood work to see what's happening, because sometimes we're not able to sleep because there's other underlying condition, like it could be like a sleep apnea where when you're sleeping, you're not getting enough oxygen to your brain. There's a lot of things that could be happening, right? But usually you have symptoms. So when you have symptoms, follow up with your doctor. And even if you don't have symptoms, let's say maybe you feel okay, but don't follow up with your doctor, because there are so many things they can do to help you. Sometimes speaking to a social worker, speaking to someone, getting the resources to help you can also help, right? Because most of the time, independent about, oh, me stress to be out, me okay. And so no one needing common, then you realize that things come up, right? Because sometimes the stress, it could be that we don't realize because we're so used to it, right? You know, making sure say, we're taking care of ourselves. So I'm going to end it here. There's psychotherapists, there's social workers, there's public health nurses, there's people that are out there that the government have put out there to help you. So if you're going through anything, book appointment with your doctor, do your blood work, let's find out what's happening. And then there's things they can do. There's cognitive behavior therapy. You can speak to a psychologist, you can speak to a psychiatrist. Doesn't mean you're crazy. And sometimes medication is needed because remember, these mental illness are there because there's chemical imbalance, right? Just like obesity, diabetes, because the hormone insulin is not working. Somebody can get depression because their serotonin level is low. It is sometimes medication is prescribed to help you, along with the to help you, give you the mental break that you need to have a positive mental health, which can help have a positive effect on your body. So I'm gonna leave it here. Hopefully we'll have more chance next time to talk, and then we can go into it. But there's lots of resources and there's lots of things out there that can help you. So I'll leave it here for anybody that have questions, so I can address that. And
hallelujah.
Amen.
Yen Sister Juliet, that's Papa one church with the abraye. Now, before I bet twas no, your best stress, say, your baby lines not to it. Miss Rewa say, oh, Henna said they were background. Now, what mute no am I? Say, Beya, we be sa question a better see. It's a beer lines not to a kayan 30 minutes in room put na ya pong. It's Miss Remoma question, Emra, ne banswa, and your shot, MIA. Into ye be a question time and out for questions. So who a question a bit to me there, but upija won't sound so a bit to me afraid. But you to me type on so I'll bet him there to chat box name ye be ready abba.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Hi, Diana Basipa, Maya who said, educator, and I'm so bad on TV brain. Next time, and everybody answer, humanity in number brain, for no upper from Gatra. Yamin Shabby, very, very great insight. Babonaka said, my men crow for a year if we knew more only. Yamin Shapa, and I'm to say, yes, share. And San Hono, I don't know why I educate an idiot, Mr. Me balance insanity. Insanity, yeah, sorry. Your platform, and they are sorry in church, and they say, Zandi Uncle Honkra goes ultimate measure. Say, we know me no more. Mebuana, Monty, yes, see Hono Mokai. Dear, but to say, what did you be an hour on Sandy? Just say, who has directives, no, unfanya you. And the enemy about crack and 1 million disadvantages be brea a 1 sanum and moye and Diomodiana Yanum should be bremo. Mema may be na answer ya, Godokos and ya dear party. Was a mother buzz you sugar be anchor. Mammy be a Toby cutting. Obano Bafabaco. One. Because you can him or no, sir, good do point, coach again on your diabetes. Made the beach or a big run a crabby. The chawa. Was I on my kind of dear? You can go home. Organic. Omoboa. And tea. Omoboa cry. Or no, coach again on your diabetes. And the best advice in this, Pentecost, and I know you.
yes.
Hallelujah. And Yanni said, me trebi damn dear, the M1 Pediano, as in the Pedianos in here, amen. Question I'm saying, say, many of them, big country say, body ankasa, a vegetable, and Ukraina.
So body, yeah, starch. Body, no, and your vegetable in that sense. On that, me and Yabaka say, you better make put it away a vegetable, but when we look at and we are affected your blood sugar now and my energy now, we have to look at it in that way. Say, for example, BBT said all your grains and starches, no, like bode, banche, bayere, ni starch. And not just a nyama, so we did natural way now. That's how we are 12 match, and I say, we did natural is one out there. It's good for you. It's not a vegetable because vegetables, no, most vegetables, no, have very low sugar amount, which is carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is very small. And you know, so we have me plate now, let me show now. Usually, you do vegetables now, vegetables, no, because I don't know carbohydrate near kakrebi, but benefits no dos, right? And so the bay I ain't gaining weight. Don't say you're gaining weight at the baby, because you're gaining weight, you know, not the way your organs need to function, and also change it. And now the am gaining weight most of the time here, the starchy foods and the fat in the way. No? And the starchy foods that buy body and the bunch and buy it and then fans all come back all those things now. So what did too much? A bit more gaining weight, which is not good for you. Into kakrebi now here, and it's a body, say, for example, baby body back is enough as a meal, right? Because who did body and I wouldn't body and what they have moved back home. Hopefully nobody with lots of vegetables. So if you have spinach too now, there's lots of vegetables in there, right? You know, who did body and not spinach too, not one year. It's a protein here from beans, the beans be flat, not from a nama be flat, low fat. It's better for you. So balance things out. But in terms of body vegetables, and I usually go back to the diabetes section because also so sugar and we are in amount sugar cholesterol. And now we have to be mindful of amount medical craving. Body is now considered a vegetable. It will make it's a starch, it will make your blood sugar go up. It will make it's the energy food you need it, but kakrebi, not too much. So the way how biama. So we are but you're making sure we don't overindulge. So the body back way. Right? So the way yeah, but they're vegetable. And they're vegetable.
I mean, sure, you my question.
You that's you see who's a body back now the pair account now the cool be because now what's made a balance. If I'm right. Be a question at one now be the other buy or say is here no and mofra your man and I knew animal kitwano from especially from teenage air corner. How will we know say they are under mental stress?
Very good question. Very good question. Answer teenage when I go through the teenage years now, there's a lot of hormones that's changing, right? I know say you know, we look at it, but we know that there's a lot of hormones changing. For example, and Maya, they're going through there's a lot of hormones that changing, and there's a lot of peer pressure from friends and from from school, from parents. So there could be a lot of stress that teenagers go through. That as parents, we think so. We are teenagers, they're how now, but they do have a lot of stress. And sometimes so no about I'm not saying this is just a general statement. So no about you should know how humanity and Kwalani be just like it be a quiet, it be a more talkative, it be a more involved, it be a more reserved. I was say as a parent, we study about now who said the urbanicity. Right? For example, or you're very talkative, and I said, or you'll be way involved. That's all of a sudden, as a watching home, oh yeah, they are why I'm more quiet, why I'm more reserved. If you're first not enough for enough for didn't come more phone, so and also what test now, you don't see that. These are all signs that something is happening. And at this point, as a parent, you approach them, but you approach them generally. When you're depression, that's when it could be say something is happening at school that that's affecting them, that's causing stress for them, right? It could be something that's happening in the community. It could be a number of things. So, but the main thing is you need to know how your child is, because we'll be quiet that. But be involved in your kid's life as much as you can, because sometimes but then they can harm. Like I've seen myself firsthand. I've been to homes where kids have committed suicides, and there's a lot that goes beyond that, right? It's something will be in a mental stress level, and then their tolerance level. They have resilience because of the relationship they have with their parents and the relationship they have with their peers. And some of them have very low mental resilience because maybe they've been bullied, they've been isolated all their life. So one thing can just set them off. So you have to be mindful, say, oh no, especially now. As a push you away. Trust me, no teenager wants to sit there and kumbaya with their mom and dad all day. They don't want to do that. They need their space. Give them their space, but also let them know that you're there and you're present. And always check on them. Okay. Or you might think you're annoying them, but it's a reassurance that you care about them. Right? They have a funny way of reacting. So don't give up if your kid is pushing you away, and don't give up. And if you see signs are happening, approach them and talk to them about it. Because it's a woman who said, it shows the symptoms are showing, and that's what the oya. And no man, feel comfortable enough to come to you to combine with you. Sometimes if you're lucky. And that's a bit market and say, "Bibi, how na say when you're comfortable, so me be kasa. Met me book appointment now, no doctor kasa. Me kwa met na bonte now, no doctor kasa." Usually that also helps them because they want their privacy. Sometimes maybe at the end happen, don't feel comfortable, so no never. What you say? But and also a man who said you're there for them. Make sure say, oh no, man be connected as much as you can. Even if they push you away, try your best because they all do. But try your best and connect with them as much. Get them involved. Sometimes who get them involved, but they'll push you away. But get them involved. As far now back, say programming now so volunteer work just get them involved as much as you can. But the main message is know how your child is and try to be there and try to be involved in their life as much as you can, because they will push you away. But and sometimes sometimes some of the parents, when I talk to them, say, I didn't know this was happening. It's never any parent's fault. It's never anybody's fault, because these are illnesses and people have different symptoms. So it's not a self-blame, but get yourself involved as much as you can and talk to your kids and let them, let them know that no matter how bad it is. And their parents, some can be beat them. I know that sometimes the grandparents can be but try your best to resist that overreacting. Because their first reaction will determine ever again, or they'll push you away. And as much as you can, you let them know that they're disappointed, say. But we're glad they are and then you come up with ways to help them, right? Because they go through a lot of challenge. There's a lot of stress for teenagers. There's a lot of pressure from parents expecting them to do well, their peers, and then also school. So just and I know that there's an attack on the kids because it's happening a lot, where a lot of kids are committing suicide and having a lot of mental challenges. So just try your best to be there and just pick on the little signs that they manifest to run with it, because sometimes there's no other way of knowing.
Okay, that's papa. Pancho, be a question of bit to me at the Abba. Your time, yes.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Pancho, me a question if you need na. Okasano, a lot exercise today. Me and Madam see exercise in ye can na. Who is stressed be like you just want to sleep, and I say just isolate yourself. But you don't have the urge to do that. Okay. Yes, me who say stress is setting in. Feel maybe. How you make me overcome sad exercise be?
Okay, that's a good question. So to say you don't have the motivation to do the exercise that you want to do. Say it's good for you, but you don't have the motivation. So
exactly.
So sometimes sometimes for example, I said exercise, you need 150 minutes per week. When you're under stress, your mind just go back to, I need 100. Looking at the big number can sometimes discourage you. Even if right? And I know that sometimes you're tired, especially you work, you have kids or whatever, you're tired and you don't feel like, even if you can time yourself, okay, I'm going to walk around for 10 minutes. I'm not stepping out because whatever the situation is, I don't feel like getting ready and whatever, but I just want to move my body around. Even doing 10 minutes, it still counts towards, you should count it towards your exercise goal as an achievement. If we're able to celebrate and why made me look at it in a big way. Say a chef said, oh, I also, for example, we person lose 100 pounds. That's all I say, 100, that could discourage you, but okay, I'm going to try and lose maybe 1 pound a month. That could motivate. So looking at the task in small ways can usually help motivate you. And sometimes, so I said, now, I mean, at the end, it's like, it's a bother. It's, do what you can, as much as you can indoor, right? But it's always a good idea to step out just to get fresh air, to get your mind going. But just look at it in small goals. Say, I'm doing my 10-minute workout because I'm just walking around. That's still good enough. Or you can say, instead of sleeping all the time, right? Or lying down all the time, even sitting or standing is better than, as long as, so this is what I want you to think of. As long as you're not lying there and sitting all day and you're making yourself move, is an improvement. Because when, especially if like with us as women, when we go out, we work and whatever, you just want to sit down, eat and lay down. As long as, even if you lay down, just walk around. Because the more you sit, the more issues you're going to have. Your joints get stiff, your muscles get tense, so it's not good for you. Even if you don't get 10 minutes exercise, let's say, for example, but a near amount that you can type, just moving around, doing that helps you. So try to move, it's called movement. Move more and sit less. That will help you. But in terms of counting towards your exercise goal, in order for it to count at least 10 minutes, that's a way. Now time yourself 10 minutes and my head 10 minutes and the pay. And I want to don't stress yourself. And I'll be my mono, then you do it, right? Because we have to be kind to ourselves. Sometimes we don't have the motivation. Sometimes we're just tired, physically tired, and that's okay. We can rest and relax. But on the days that we have the energy, then we need to do more to compensate, right? So just make sure that even if you're tired and you're not, you want to keep to yourself, it doesn't become a habit where you become like you remove yourself from everybody, because then that can also become other issues for you. So we all need our space. We all need to sometimes to just say, I need to stay away to take care of myself, take care of your mind. That's also part of, mental health, but just make sure that it doesn't become a habit where it harms you later on, right? So it becomes, you're always sleeping, you're sleeping your life away and you're sitting all the time. You want to move. Movement is very important for our body. Yeah.
So say me can be a fear question no ano. Exercise no it say we are country. Say we share we are just over here country. First 2 days no really hard. But when you shall say 3 days no 4th day no I feel say one utam sukra umpeso ubijai. Sana exercise etie. The moment I be fear na so we wadwen say obeye no didn't say na akwadru bi abemu. It is a one you wadwen no one for so serve we nsi abontene a ne konedi. Na wunya sha wo mpabo na wusi abontene a it is say ugina poposo na wo sane. Ujaya inyai.
Yeah, and get people to help you. That's a good point. Sometimes get a group, right? Like maybe say, sometimes guys, we're going forward. You can see all the moving and more. We don't want to go. I still drag them because I'm like, come on. And sometimes getting people to come with you helps motivate you, right? And then because but because of someone promising each other, you end up going. Sometimes getting the support from friends or spouse or like siblings, whatever helps you. It can keep you motivated. Or what I used to do before, I walk to my sister's house. Like I walk there and then she walk with me. Like you just whatever you have to do to keep it going, right? Because you want this to become a routine part of your life. Because whatever you're doing, when we have little ones around, they're also learning, and it helps all of us. So just try your best, but days that you feel tired, you rest. You listen to your body, you rest. But days that you feel okay, go out there, and especially if you can do it, exercise outside, it's beneficial for you because you're clearing your mind, you're out, you're getting fresh air, it's good for you. But if you can do it at home some days, that's also okay, as long as you're moving and you're not going more than 3 days without exercise, right? You want to do it at least every other day that you're doing something.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Okay.
I'll try.
Just do your best, because it's not a fun thing. It's not like I don't know how to say, or I mean, some people, sometimes if I look at the outside and it's so cold and you don't feel like getting, you put music in and you can dance. That's exercise. But whatever, like, as long as you're moving, it's good for you, because you have to try, because nothing, just like everything we do, you have to put an effort to it, right? And sometimes we're human, we're tired, and we feel weak, and like the motivation is not there, but we have to try our best to or tell somebody that you want to exercise. Like, you tell my kids that you're going to, my third girl, you tell her that you're doing something, God helps you. She's going to make sure you're doing it. So find somebody like that will nag you until you do what you have to do, and it will help you. So however the motivation comes, just take it as it is and just do your best. Really, that's all you can do.
Okay, that's sister Fia. Patrimonial questions too. I let me see a intentem so kakra. But is about the exercise. Na me say we here no crowd that or see or like healthcare providers see omokojuma on tenase or up and down sa a friend or pa or bon tenase or how bed to bed near the no bedroom fear na. Yeah, or here exercise be one because of you said the whole day 12 hours why exercise every.
Yeah. So okay, so that's a very good point. So because of what Jumani is very physical, it's good for you. But remember, because of we are the Debiano, it's built into your system, right? So that doesn't count as exercise, but it's still good for you. So it's because what you're doing is good for you, but to count as exercise, it has to be something outside your normal routine. For example, now I'm moving. That would be exercise for me because now it's a new thing that I'm doing. It's a new addition. But because of what it involves all of that. It's like it's part of your baseline. It's built into you. You might not need to do like intense exercise like somebody whose job requires them to sit more, right? To go over to my exercise, like if you need that 150 minutes now, minimum now, you're good to go because that helps maintain your weight and it helps you, right? But yeah, a lot, right? Then you have to make sure that you're trying to meet the minimum, but then you go above that, especially if you're somebody that wants to lose your weight or maintain your weight, especially women, right? Wow, involves a lot of walking, it's great, but you still need to meet the minimum of the exercise because there are other benefits that you get from it. But it's good that your job is physical. It helps a lot. Yeah.
But I chip we say so in. Why 190 so no here say we be few no. We be bit say squat kakra. So san say we nan wagina why wagina ho abre. To say we call form kakra na we basuru no we call form kakra 10 minutes so you okay. Nti de bia mu gina ho no mu a de bia so so call form kakra. And American dia so so.
Yeah, now Osaye, that's a good point. Also, you have another type of exercise. So Ojumani require a lot of walking. Another exercise you can do is resistant exercise. So exercise that you're working your muscles, right? So you're working against your body mass, your body mass, or using actual weights, right? And then just laughing at me, say bodybuilder. No, just to put tension in your muscle because those kind of exercise help keep your body lean and help maintain your weight. And those that want to lose weight, it helps you lose weight. So doing resistant exercise like push-ups, sit-ups, and then doing push-up and sit-ups against a wall or using actual weight, those exercises, no, you don't need to do it every day, at least 3 times a week, spread out. That's something that you can add to help you in terms of your exercise goal, right? Because your job is already very physical. So that's another thing.
Okay, I think say a time, brain break. If I tell me the 1 minute can home obi a question obeti me ebisa na the program no abba ewiye na sɛ daakye bi kwan bɛ mu a yɛbɛtumi asa afrɛ bio. Nti mesrɛ question ma me bi ato mu for about 1 more minute. Sɛ bia obi wɔ question a obɛtumi abisa. Em sɛ mehwɛ chat box no mu so no question bi new one bi ɛni hɔ. Okay. Any sister.
Me chip in. Me person me find out say when exercise. As I said, what doing a basso na count to as an exercise or not?
Good question.
So say that again. So when you exercise,
we exercise. In fact, we exercise like we person find out is it's a what doing a basso say you are exercising manu account to an answer.
Oh, I see.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. No, it doesn't, because when you're exercising, so for example, so because so you know, so you're exercising, but you shouldn't have to focus. Say, I'm walking. No, if you want to relax, you want to walk, but you want to relax your mind, because that's all part of the whole thing. Like you want to relax your mind, enjoy, look at scenery and all of that, right? Because it all helps you with your scenery, and all of that helps with your mental health and wellness. But you don't have to focus on it. Say, may exercise for it to count, because your body is still moving. But of course, if you're walking, you're exercising. Of course, you don't want to walk so slow. You want to do a little bit brisk walking. You want it to be a little bit faster, so that you see a change in your heart rate, right? So you see a change. So for it to count that exercise, you should see a change in heart rate. So if you're leisurely walking around, it's still good for you because you're moving. But yes, you want it to be a little bit faster, so you can see a change in heart rate, because then you get all the benefit as exercise. Yeah.
Exercise, no, it is said, who read the Bible. Say, okay, kind Bible, you want to get the understanding. It is a what kind of kemu. No one tears out Miss Abawachi. No, what's kind when you anti. Okay, kind book, I can kind of pesa wina ufio. Now cover the next book. It's difference, no. The moment I bear what you say, who pay exercise, no. What the new program said, this is the type of exercise I so way. Exercise, no. The mimi person me year for my body health, no. The same exercise will be here for the bodybuilder. So, the moment no, why do you say? Who yes exercise way for this purpose, no? When I'm one program, why do you say beer? When what can you say? When I may, but what not yet to say this is the type of exercise I will, and you know, body need flow with that. And you be a wide that's what we and now wide that's what baby. Body go with that. Until once now do wideness, you see when away, you know, the body supports you to do that. Amen.
Yeah, that's right. Our mind is very powerful. Yes. So yeah, you get all the benefit. The fact that means exercise, it helps you, and it helps relax the mind. But you don't want to stress about exercising, because that's kind of defeating the purpose. So I like that analogy. So you want to be calm, do what you can, and then days that you can't, you do it, you relax, and then days you can, right? You have to be kind to yourself.
Okay. Mr. Juliet, that's in shroud. And then you make Medino. The coffee also. The Okaya, a Kama Kuma Pai spirituality is important to our physical and mental health.